Hey everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, so another random comics walkthrough, and this one is going to be uh, Defenders 65 from 1978. All right. Ooh. So, okay. Okay, so the cover is by, it says Pollard and Austin. So I'm sure that's Keith Pollard and Terry Austin. And we see the Red Guardian lost in a secret lair of the slime creature. Okay, so it's a story by David Kraft, Don Perlin, and Bruce D. Artwork. Gene Simic letters, P. Goldberg colors, Bob Hall editor, Jim Shooter editor in chief. Now, this is interesting. So we're picking up where last issue left off. And I think that the Defenders must have had like a membership drive or whatever. So a bunch of random superheroes showed up to possibly join, and now they're leaving, which is kind of funny because there's Havoc from the X-Men, Black Goliath, and then Iron Fist, but we just see them from the back, you know. And then here's some. Here's Hercules here, okay. And there's some random supervillains that are still hanging around. Blob, Whirlwind. I can't remember this guy's name. So anyway, cop is telling them, you guys have like smashed up everything. You need to be more responsible. Blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, gee, sorry, officer. And then Hellcat gets in her convertible and she reads this letter that she's gotten from her old friend, Millie the Model. And she's like, I should, go check up and catch up with my old buddy. And then we cut to the Red Guardian. So this is the second Red Guardian. The first Red Guardian in the regular comics continuity was Black Widow's old husband, long lost husband or whatever. That character died. So then they came up with this character who was kind of I think she's a surgeon by day, but then she's a vigilante superhero by night. In Russia, but she had come to America for some reason or another. I think originally she had come to operate on Nighthawk or whatever, and then she just kind of hung around or whatever. Now, in the middle of this arc, I'm not sure how it happened, but she has atomic powers or whatever, and the Soviets have her locked up in a room somewhere because her atomic powers are too dangerous, and she's feeling all sad about that. And then they let her out because they're like, well, there's an atomic monster out there. You've got the atomic power, so you go over there and deal with it. So she goes out there flying around, and there's some sort of slime creature. And there's this other guy who was some sort of villain or whatever, caught in the slime, but he has atomic powers too. So everybody's kind of radioactive and everything. Oh, I should talk about this. We'll get to this in a moment, but Micronauts toys, huh? Kind of cashing in on the popularity of Star Wars at the time. But so here's Red Guardian fighting a slime creature, and she frees Sergi, or tries to free Sergi, and then we cut back to Defenders, back to the States. Nighthawk is trying to comfort Valkyrie, who's all upset about how she's been going crazy and going into berserker rages and what is wrong with me? Oh, I don't know. Be a draftsman. Anyway, Nighthawk paints a sign on the door. No more superheroes needed. Okay? But then he goes to check on Valkyrie, and she's just having all kinds of fits and spasms and spells and things. She falls out. Oh, here's some ads for some interesting stuff. You can get the Treasury editions, which were pretty popular at the time. Black and white magazines. monster, horror, Conan, crazy. And then, of course, subscriptions for just the regular color comics, right? And then here we go. Here's where Patsy reunites with Millie the Model, which is pretty interesting. Both Patsy and Millie the Model predate the quote unquote Marvel age. So they existed before, Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four 1 in 1964. I think Millie goes back to the 50s, and I think Patsy goes back to the early, early at least the mid 40s, if not the early 40s. So it's pretty interesting how they ended up slowly transitioning it into the kind of superhero universe here. And basically, this whole scene is Millie having the time of her life. She's like, "Wow, look, it's great we got back together. Look how successful I've become. I've got my own company. We should hang out and this, that." And Patsy being all like, "Oh, that sounds great, but I don't know. I don't really fit in, with that whole glamour scene anymore. Seeing that she's a superhero who fights monsters and stuff." Oh, here's this ad, this Milk Duds ad that was in all the comics for a moment. This one's got Doctor Doom in it. I'm not sure who drew this Doctor Doom. Maybe it's Johnny Romita, possibly John Romita Sr. Same for this ad, another ad for subscriptions. Undoubtedly John Romita Sr. Here's an ad for Iron Man. This is when David Michelinie and John Romita Jr. and Bob Layton took over. So this is that run. This is that infamous run where you get the demon in the bottle comes from. So bold new direction for Iron Man. Okay. Ad for Pizzazz. Pizzazz was like Marvel's sort of Tiger Beat magazine that they tried to do for a moment. But anyway, we cut back to Russia. Here's the Red Guardian and Sergei trapped by the slime creature. And then it seems like when they join hands, their atomic powers kind of merge. And they're able to like power up and break free. And Serge seems to have kind of a crush on the Red Guardian too, which is kind of weird. But anyway, they fight the monster a little bit more. And then, they do some more atomic superpower stuff. And this is interesting too here. The caption goes, blah, 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 blah. Once more, they catalyze controlled nuclear explosion, but this time they concentrate its full force on the nucleus itself. The energy is altogether too great for the amoeba to absorb. More radioactive vapors escape into the atmosphere in the world all too often subjected to such accidental releases. But when the smoke clears, the most immediate threat to mankind's future is gone. And I had to kind of remember, like back in the late 70s, you had a couple of, little accidental leakages or leaks at these atomic plants and stuff, 3 Mile Island, whatever. But I think 3 Mile Island was after this. Wait, when is this? This is 1978, right? And I think, so yeah, this is November 78. And 3 Mile Island might have happened like right then. It might have been like 78 or 79 or whatever. When was that movie, The China Crisis? Like right around the same time, I think. So, and then here we are. They've defeated the monster. And they're like, we're radioactive. So we can't be around people anymore. But maybe we can create something here. La da da. And Meanwhile, in Manhattan, I'm not too sure what this is. I think one of these guys was a guy who was trying to do a documentary on the Defenders, and now that's over with. I guess he's supposed to be Mr. Artsy Fartsy. You see this modern art here, some Campbell's soup sculptures. That's unfortunate, but I'll get back in their good graces. Boffo! That's what we need to say from now on when we get excited. Bullpen bulletins. Okay. There's a Stan soapbox. He's basically talking about around this time we had like the Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk TV shows, and they kind of strayed away from the source material a little bit, or especially the Hulk TV show. And basically, it's Stan talking about like, well, this happened and that happened, and they didn't want the show to be too camp and blah blah blah. There's a paragraph encouraging people to buy Jim Shooter's issue of Avengers 177. That was the climax to like a 10-issue story that what we now call the Korvac saga. Fantastic Four number 200. Dave Cochran is getting married. Her advertising David McElhaney taking over Iron Man. And what is this? Ernie Chan stopped by, envelope full of ink Conan pages. Okay. Oh, Bill Mantlo and Michael Golden are going to be starting the Micronauts. And Mort Weisinger from DC Comics passed away. All right. Ad for Hostess fruit pies. I'm not sure who did this art. Maybe it's Sal Buscema. Maybe it's Sal Buscema inked by Joe Sinnott. Possibly. Okay. And then here we're back to America, or we're back to the Defenders, I should say. And here's Valkyrie having all kinds of hallucinations, and then Nighthawk and Hellcat go to check on her. There's a big flash of light. Valkyrie's horse disappears, and then here's a note where Valkyrie says, "I've gone away. Don't come back. Don't come looking for me. I'll never be here. She'll never see us again. Come back next issue for God War." Dun 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 dun. All right. Jack Davis ad for Slim Jims. Super Hang-Ups for 25 cents. Okay. And that's it. An ad for Legos. Ta-ta. All right. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. You guys have a